Welcome to Magic Beyond the Books. Today we are talking about everyone's favorite house elf, Dobby. I'm Renee, and I have a guest host with me on the podcast. Do you want to introduce yourself and share your Hogwarts house?
Yeah, hi Renee, thanks for having me. I'm John, and my Hogwarts house is Gryffindor, although on occasions I have been known to display actions more aligning with House Slytherin. And just a warning for all the listeners, there are Harry Potter spoilers in this episode.
Okay, so like I said, we're going to talk about Dobby. Dobby's a house elf. He starts off as the house elf for the Malfoy family until Harry helps to set him free. That happens in the Chamber of Secrets. And then he ends up working in the Hogwarts kitchens, and he continues to support Harry until he dies in book 7. I looked through the books. The name Dobby actually appears 472 times, and he makes an appearance in books 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7, but only in the 2nd and 7th movies of the 8 movies. And I feel like he doesn't have a ton of scenes, but he really has a lasting impact on people. Would you agree?
Oh, for sure.
But before we get into Dobby, we'll do our weekly question of the week.
The question of the week is, what wizarding job would you want to do?
Okay, I feel like there's a pretty obvious one for you, John. I mean, should we reveal what you do in the Muggle world?
So in the Muggle world, I recently graduated from medical school, so I'm trying to get residency now as a physician.
Yeah, so I feel like in the magical world, you would be a healer at saying mungos, right?
You would think, Renee, you would think. However, I believe that in the wizarding world, I would be a dragon wrangler.
Oh, okay, like Charlie Weasley.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it just seems like a cool profession. Like, imagine the bragging rights. Like, oh, you're a professor? That's cool. I wrangle dragons for a living.
Yeah, all the care of magical creatures, like dealing with magical creatures, those seem like fun jobs. I don't know for myself what I would pick. A lot of them don't seem that great. I definitely wouldn't want to work at Hogwarts. And I don't know, Ministry of Magic, it seems like we see Arthur Weasley works at the Ministry, and I feel like he's always working late, and they talk about him not making a lot of money. So it just, I don't know, maybe that's because he works with the Muggles.
Mm-hmm. I see you working for the Department of Magical Law Enforcement.
Oh, really? Why do you say that?
I don't know. I just see you tracking down people for improper use of magic.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say probably that, or maybe working in the Department of Magical Games and Sports. It'd be fun to organize Quidditch matches.
True, I can see that.
But yeah, that would be my only answer. I'm not really sure. I mean, listeners, you guys tell me what job I should do. Okay, let's get into the episode. So, John, you said that Dobby was your favorite character. So I want to ask you off the top, why is Dobby your favorite character?
I think what makes Dobby my favorite character is, I really admire his bold fashion choices.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes from rocking a filthy, ragged old pillowcase in the second book to sporting mismatched socks, a tea cozy as a hat, kid shorts, and going shirtless with a tie in the fourth book.
Yes, he has, which I feel like they didn't give us in the movies. He just wears the same pillowcase, right?
The whole time.
Yeah, his fashion sense gets a little bit crazy in the latter books after he's a free elf.
Mm-hmm. But all joking aside, of his sense of fashion, I think what really makes Dobby a great character is he serves as this powerful symbol of freedom and loyalty to his friends, and he even has this moral complexities of the power of servitude in the wizarding world.
Oh yeah, I like Dobby. I feel like Dobby is definitely one of my top characters, and especially for his bravery and for how far he goes out of his way to help Harry. Even in the beginning, he doesn't even really know him. I just feel like, I don't know, he's just so likable. I don't know, I can't imagine anyone not liking Dobby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's just a lovable character.
John, when you were a kid, did you watch The Rescuers?
Was that with the mice?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so for the listeners, The Rescuers, I think there might have been a TV show, but I remember like the movies. So it's basically this like international coalition of mice that go on, they're like secret agents that go on these missions to like protect children basically, or recover like missing and endangered kids, like human
Yeah.
kids. And I feel like Dobby kind of reminds me of the Rescuers. I feel like it's like Dobby was like assigned to Harry, and he's like, okay, this is my kid that I need to like rescue from every situation.
Makes sense. You know, they're like a guardian angel type figure.
Right? He basically is. That's a good way of putting it. Like Dobby is basically Harry's guardian angel. He shows up at like all the like the best times when Harry really needs it.
Mm-hmm.
So, should we talk about Dobby's description from the books? You mentioned it a little bit with his fashion sense.
Yeah. Yes. He's this little creature with like large, ugly, like doll-like features, I guess. Like large bat ears and these bulging orb-like green eyes, like the size of tennis balls. And he's got this
Yeah.
like thin pencil-shaped pointed nose and long fingers and feet. He's a weird-looking dude.
Yeah, they really
They,
went out of their way to describe him as weird looking.
yeah, they could have just said weird-looking dude, and they would have been fine with it.
Yeah, you all know Dobby, the weird looking dude. With the pillowcase. Yeah, and he starts out with the raggedy pillowcase, and then he switches to just like all patterned, mismatched clothing. And he's basically always just like popping in and out of wherever he is with this like, I guess which this always kind of, I was confused about this. Like when people apparate and disapparate, like wizards and elves, I feel like they always talk about Dobby appearing with like a loud crack, but then I feel like other people, it doesn't make a loud noise, or maybe that's like elves versus wizards.
Okay, yeah, because they are able to like apparate and disapparate in like places that wizards like really aren't allowed to.
Yeah.
So maybe that's just house elves.
Yeah. I think like that's a big mystery. I feel like it's not super clear in the books or in the movies, like what exactly all like elves can do. Because it seems like that they can do a lot. Like it seems like they might be more powerful than wizards and witches.
Yeah, and like they don't need wands to like wield or channel magic. They can just do it with their fingertips. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So Dobby's definitely very powerful in his own way. And there's a couple pictures. I was going back through the books. So there's a couple pictures from the books when he first appears. I feel like he looks like pretty similar to how they have him in the movies.
Yeah.
But it looks like almost like he has like dark hair on his head a little bit.
Yeah, he's got like this weird eyebrow connected to his sideburns, connected to his beard thing going on there.
Yeah, he has very like full luscious lips as well in this illustration.
Yeah.
He's like, he might have some lip filler, to be honest. And they have him in these like little ballet flat shoes that have like the little swirl up. I don't know how to describe this.
It looks like the shoes from like the movie Elf, where he's rocking
Oh
those.
yeah.
Which is weird because he's wearing like, wouldn't that be considered clothes? Like he has a hat in his hand.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this confuses me because he definitely has like a hat with a little tassel and then like these shoes, which I feel like those would definitely be clothes. Like pillowcase, I'll give it to you, but yeah, I'm not really sure about that one. And then they have a couple other, the movie ones, they nailed it with the big green eyes for sure. But the other illustrations have him with like all the hats and the socks and everything. And then they have these like illustrated books that came out more recently. And in these, they really make him look weirder. Like his like ears are so long and his nose is so long.
He's super creepy.
Yeah, the illustrated books version of him like kind of scares me a little bit.
Looks like a gremlin in that one.
Yeah, I don't know about this. I think the books and the movies make him, he's almost like a little cute, even though he's a little odd.
Yeah, that's like classic Dobby for me. Like when I think of Dobby, like I really don't remember any pictures or anything from the books. The image I have in my head when I think of Dobby is from the films.
Yeah, same. I did look up for the films. I guess they used for I think that for the early films they used like a like tennis ball and a stick like for the actors to look at where they were looking and then they animated him. But I think for the later movies they actually used like a stand-in. So the stand-in that like played Dobby basically was someone named Diane Gibbons. And then the voice of Dobby is an actor named Toby Jones, which Toby Jones actually beyond like voice acting, he does like normal acting in other films. Like he was in like Captain America and all these other things.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I thought that was cool. I thought like he did a good job with the voice.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like he nailed it. Yeah, let's see what this guy looks like.
It's this guy here. Have you seen him before and
Oh
stuff?
yeah. He was like the Nazi scientist guy in like the Avengers movies.
But yeah, so that's just a little shout out to him because he did a good job with the voice for Dobby for all. I think he did the voice for all of the films or both the films. I guess he was in two of them. And I did look up. So Dobby, his birthday is June 28th. In case anyone wants to know. I don't know the year, so
Just a
I
little
don't know
fun
how
fact.
old he is. And I guess J.K. Rowling gave him that birthday because that's her sister Diane's birthday, and she was a big fan of Dobby.
Huh. So
So
are house elves like born into servitude?
yeah, I believe so. Like I feel like the house elves again. Maybe I mean if someone else has found some other part of the canon that I've missed. Like I don't feel like I have a full understanding of how exactly they exist. Like how old is Dobby? Like is he 50? Is he 20? Is he 100? I have no idea. Like how long they live. But I think they're born into servitude because like the Sirius Black's family, they have like this series of house elves. It's like the mother house elf like served their family, and then like the daughter of that house elf like still serves the family.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm not sure exactly how that works. And it seems like it's only like really wealthy families that have house elves.
Yeah. Like I just imagine them like a Yoda like creature, like they live forever. You can't tell how old they are. Like I can't imagine like seeing a baby house elf.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know in the books, and I think maybe in the movies, they have like at the Black House, they have the heads of the old house, like dead house elves up on their walls, kind of like how you would have like deer or something. So
Oof.
they must they must die, right? I don't know.
That's so
It's so
morbid.
creepy.
Imagine you're the house elf working for that family. Like, one day your head will be up on that wall. Just a constant
Yeah,
reminder.
that's so creepy. But the funny thing is, like, Dobby wants to be free, but all the other house elves seem to think that he's weird for wanting to be free.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why they don't want to just like, you could be free and still like work.
Yeah, like Dobby's little girlfriend Winky's like, oh, like the freedom's going to your head type thing. Like what why don't you want to be free? Like you just accept your servitude.
Yeah, exactly. Should we get into Dobby's little timeline through the books?
Let's do it.
So he starts out in the Chamber of Secrets. This is also something that's come up is like how did Dobby know where Harry lived? Like how was he able to go visit him at the Dursley house if he's like protected or whatever there?
Yeah, that's true. Like how would he know where like Privet Drive is?
I guess I think I was trying to like read on forums like how he would have figured this out. And I guess people kind of chalk it up to like elf magic. And he was stealing Harry's letters. So I guess he just somehow magically can find his letters and then the letters would have his address.
True.
I don't really understand the whole like Harry being hidden from Voldemort at the Dursleys' house. Like it's supposed to be that like Voldemort couldn't even find him there, but then like some random house elf that's a Death Eater's house elf can find him. Doesn't that seem kind of odd?
You know, the house elf magic works in mysterious ways. We can't explain it.
Yeah. But yeah, so he does find him, and he I think Harry glimpses him in the hedge before when he's outside, but then he actually meets him in his room, basically when the Dursleys are downstairs doing their like entertaining the Mason couple.
Yeah, so like full disclosure, I have read books 1 through 4, but I most of my knowledge is from the films because I read 1 through 4 as like a child.
I do feel like the films, like I was going back for prepping this episode, and like I was going back and reading this scene where Harry meets him and then watching the film, and they're very close. Like I think there's like a little stuff cut, but like I think a lot of the conversation is like almost word for word from the books.
Okay.
Dobby basically says that he went to Harry because there's some sort of like plot going on at Hogwarts and he doesn't want Harry to go back.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically this conversation, right? And then he says that he like has been stealing his mail.
Yeah, and he has one of those great lines in that Dobby does in the second film when he first meets Harry in his room. He has like when he keeps like bashing his head against the dresser. He's like bad Dobby, because he's like revealing information to Harry. You know, like because
Yeah.
it's funny seeing him do it, but then as the audience, you know, it really highlights to us like the terrible situation that house elves are in and like the wizarding world that they must remain obedient to their masters and then punish themselves when they feel like they've shown any type of defiance.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like and even like in the later scene when he like visits him in the hospital wing, he talks about how he had to like iron his hands. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like crazy punishments. I like when we see Dobby, and I like how in the movies too, which I can't remember. I don't think he was doing this in the books, but in the movies he's just like jumping on Harry's bed when he sees him. Like he's like just waiting for Harry. He's like, all right, I'm just gonna jump around for a little bit. Like I don't know.
And Harry's like, keep it down. You're going to get me in trouble and I'm not going to go back to Hogwarts type thing, you know?
Yeah, like and Dobby's like you said, like he's like screaming like bad Dobby, and like the Dursleys are downstairs, like why can't you keep quiet? But yeah, basically what I got from this scene is Harry was just trying very carefully to be like, how do I politely say you really need to be quiet right now?
Like, what do I need to tell you to get you out of this house?
Yeah, like why are you here? I'm sorry, like what even are you? But yeah, so they have that conversation, and then Dobby in the movie. The key difference here was that the movie Dobby levitates the like pudding cake thing and drops it on Mrs. Mason's head. But in the books, he just drops it in the kitchen, and then the owl comes that's set from the ministry saying Harry shouldn't have done magic and drops it on her head. And then she's like, "Oh, I'm afraid of birds," and she storms out. But I think it's better having him like drop the pudding on her head.
Yeah, it's more cinematic that way.
Yeah, the way Harry was trying to stop it, it definitely makes it look like Harry was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, so that's their first meeting, and then Dobby basically, you don't see Dobby, but we find out later that he like stops Ron and Harry from getting through the 9 3/4 platform.
Yeah, like he closed like the portal on them.
Yeah, which again, like elf magic apparently is super strong. Like, how does he do this? I don't know.
It works in mysterious ways.
Yeah. And then Harry, despite Dobby's warnings, goes back to Hogwarts, and Dobby jinxes a bludger to follow Harry around and ends up breaking his arm, and he ends up in the hospital wing. And then again, Dobby pops back up and he's like, what the heck? Why are you trying to get an education?
Yeah, like he can apparate like into the hospital wing where like wizards and witches can't like apparate or disapparate like within Hogwarts grounds, you know?
Oh yeah, that's another good point. But yeah, so after that scene, then Harry doesn't really see Dobby after he sees him in the hospital wing. he comes back at basically at the end of Chamber of Secrets
Hmm.
when like Lucius visits Hogwarts. I think that again that scene was pretty similar in the movie. Like Lucius comes in and Dobby's in tow. Dobby's kind of indicating to Harry like look at Lucius, like he's the one that planted this diary.
Yeah, like in the film, his big creepy eyes are like looking at Harry, and he's like signaling to him, like, "Yo, Lucius is the guy, man."
Yeah. And Harry's like, "Oh, you're like you work for the Malfoys." Like, duh.
It all makes sense.
Basically, it's always the Malfoys.
Hmm.
And then Harry decides to like free him by, I guess in the movie he takes off his sock and puts his sock in the diary, and then Lucius like hands the diary to Dobby. In the books, he somehow puts the diary inside of his sock, and then like Lucius takes it out and throws it to the side, and Dobby catches it, and then that he's just freed that way. So I feel like the movie way was a little bit better.
He caught the bouquet, he caught the dirty sock. He goes, "I'm free."
Exactly. That seems like a little bit of a loophole. If you're like a master and you just like throw, like you take off your jacket and throw it on the ground, and like the house elf runs and
You
catches
accidentally
it.
throw it onto the house elf. He's like, "Yes, I'm free now."
Exactly.
Like,
You gotta be
oh, that
careful.
damn loophole.
Yeah. You gotta be careful throwing clothes around.
Yeah.
But like, how does that work too? Like, if you have them do laundry, if you like hand them a bin of laundry, you're giving them clothes. Like, it seems like they would be able to get out of this enslavement pretty easily.
Hmm. Only Dobby could
Um,
figure it out, though.
yeah, only Dobby though. Of all the house elves, Dobby could figure out that if I catch an article of clothing, that I'll be free.
I think that was like a great scene in the film. Like Dobby had a great line there too when like Lucius is storming towards Harry when he realizes what Harry had done by like giving him the diary with the sock in it and then him giving it to Dobby. Dobby like places himself between Harry and Lucius and like proclaims like, "You shall not harm Harry Potter," and then like zaps Lucius like flying through the air and like landing on his backside. That crazy elf magic.
Yeah. Yeah, Dobby is like the perfect example of that people could be small and not look intimidating but be super powerful.
Hmm.
But yeah, so then after that, we're not really hearing of Dobby for a couple books, but for those 2 years after he gets freed, he's supposed to be traveling around England trying to find somewhere that he can work and get paid. And eventually, at some point, he meets up with, as you mentioned earlier, his little girlfriend, Winky. And after she gets fired, and the two of them decide to go work at Hogwarts. And then that's where Harry ends up running into him again. And this is the part that's like not in the movies, is in the fourth book, so Goblet of Fire. That's when Harry, Ron, and Hermione end up finding that Dobby's like working in the kitchens basically at Hogwarts.
Okay. Yeah, because they don't ever discuss it in the movies. Well, I guess it would be like too much to like put into the film.
Yeah, I mean, like it makes sense. They kind of cut out like all the elf stuff, or like Winky isn't included, and they have a
Hmm.
whole like side plot of Hermione starting this pro elf organization to try to free elves and all that. They just didn't even get into that for time, I guess, for the movies, and they kind of substitute like Dobby's scenes for other people. So they see him in the kitchens, and then Harry runs into him, and he gives on Christmas, he comes to Harry and gives him some socks for Christmas as a present. And that basically, like, how it works out is Dobby ends up giving Harry socks for Christmas as a present. Harry wears those socks to the Yule Ball. And then Mad Eye Moody, who's secretly like Barty Crouch Jr., sees that he's wearing those socks and like compliments him on the socks. And Harry says, "Oh, they're from like this house elf, Dobby." And then that's how basically Barty Crouch Jr., this like secret genius over here with his whole like plotting and trying to keep Harry in the Triwizard Tournament for Voldemort, he then like stages this conversation about the next task, and Dobby then, like, instead of in the movies where Neville gives Harry gilly water to go in the water, and like be able to breathe underwater. In the books, Dobby is the one that like steals the gillyweed, not gilly water. Dobby steals the gillyweed and gives it to Harry and for him to like complete that task. And it all came from like him giving him socks basically.
I mean, I feel like that would have been like a good like building up of Dobby's character arc would be like to keep him in the film, giving him the gillyweed instead of it just like default to Neville, just to keep Dobby
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, I wish we would have gotten extra scenes just because I like Dobby, obviously. And I think it makes more sense, like, because they just bring him back in the end, which obviously they were like still friends from Chamber of Secrets. But I think it makes more sense that he comes back towards the end because, he had been there working at Hogwarts. Like, Harry had seen him multiple times, you know?
Mm-hmm. Working on
Um,
his fashion sense.
yeah, working on his fashions. Yeah, so this is around the time when he gets his like crazy fashion sense. Dumbledore pays him and he uses his wages to buy wool and then he's knitting together these socks and things.
Yeah, it's adorable. They should have
Yeah,
kept
it's
that in the
cute.
film.
I know. Yeah, we missed. I wish they would have at least given us like, even if they didn't give the backstory of that, just give us like the funky outfits. Don't put him in that dirty pillowcase.
The dirty, raggedy old pillowcase.
Yeah, get him out of that toga thing. And then, so that's mainly like his stuff in the fourth book. They kind of run into him in the kitchens a couple times. And then in the fifth book, this is again like building Dobby's character. He ends up seeing Harry in the common room and telling Harry about the room of requirement, which is the room that they use for like their Dumbledore's army secret defense meetings.
Yeah.
That came from Dobby. So again, like Dobby just always comes in clutch for Harry.
Yeah, I had read that that's where, like, so Dobby had found it because he used to take his girlfriend Winky there, like when she would get into like a drunken stupor on butterbeer. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's pretty funny. And
Like Dobby's got like Winky he's got to take care of. He's got Harry who's always almost dying. Like he's just out here trying to take care of everybody.
it seems like he got mo problems after being freed. Like he had to find a job. Then he has a drunken girlfriend he needs to take care of. Like before, he was just a servant. Life wasn't so bad.
He just is like has all these responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my favorite scenes from the books though that wasn't in the movies is for their Christmas meeting for Dumbledore's army in the room of requirement, he takes it upon himself to decorate it for Christmas. And he puts all these baubles, which I think are just the like British way of saying like ornaments. He puts them up and they have pictures of Harry's face and they say, "Have a very hairy Christmas."
That's adorable.
Right? He's like Harry's number one fan.
Yeah, he's a huge Harry fan.
Even I feel like even before, like basically Harry met him and said, "Oh, you should sit down." And he was like, from that point on, he's like, "Oh, I love this guy."
He's like, I will follow you anywhere, Harry Potter.
I will follow you. Yeah. I don't know if you're like a Lord of the Rings fan. Have you seen like the movies or read the books?
Yeah, I've seen the movies.
It's like when Aragorn's like, "I would have followed you to the fires of Mordor." I feel like that's Dobby to Harry.
For sure.
So then Dobby is the one. So when like Umbridge is going to go raid the Dumbledore's army meeting, Dobby finds out about it and runs and tells Harry. So he like gives them the tip off and then they all start running out before Umbridge gets there. And I think in the movies, they just have them like they just get raided and they all try to run, right?
Yeah, like they were. Yeah, like Umbridge was like trying to break down like the door or the wall because she couldn't gain access, and then everyone was able to like slip out, and like Harry stayed behind to like catch the blame.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, similar for the books, but it's just that like Dobby told them ahead of time and then they all ran and then like Harry was the last one out and got caught.
Oh, so he was like the star of the book. They got all of his airtime.
Yeah, I don't want to say they did him dirty because they did like him great in the movies too, but they just cut out like he was even greater in the books.
Yeah, like you had key pivotal moments, like you said with the gillyweed, or showing Harry the room of requirement and like saving him from the army getting caught when Umbridge is storming. Like key things that were like big things for like his character arc, like his bravery and his loyalty to Harry, you know.
It just shows how much he would just die for Harry. Like, it's like time and time again. But yeah, and then this book 6, there's not too much of Dobby, but they do have him show up because so at this point, after Sirius dies at the end of the 5th book, he left a will that basically said, like, I leave everything to Harry. And with that, like, his house got left to Harry. And because the house got left to Harry, his house elf creature also got like left to Harry basically. So Harry is now from like book 6 on, he's like technically the master of creature. Did they like
Okay.
explain that in the movies? I can't remember.
I remember seeing Creature in the films, but no, I don't ever remember them explaining that like he inherited basically House Black and everything in it, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So in book 6, when Harry becomes like obsessed with Draco and thinks that he's up to something, which he ends up being, but like he's like obsessed, wants to know where he's going all the time. Like he's watching the Marauders map, trying to like find out where he's going, and he realizes basically that he has like too much on his plate to be like tailing Malfoy on the side. So he asks Creature to follow him around. He's like, oh, great. I have this like handy house elf that I can use. And when he summons Creature, Dobby comes with him because basically Creature was talking shit about Harry and Dobby started punching him.
So he's like, "You will not badmouth Harry Potter."
Yes. He's like, not in my presence. And um basically here's a quote from the book. It said, Dobby sank his knobbly little fist into Creature's mouth and knocked out half of his teeth.
That's right. You show him, Dobby. You show
Exactly.
him that your man's is not to be messed with.
Yeah. Yeah, is Dobby actually dating Harry, not Winky?
Yeah, he pulled Will Smith. He's like, "You keep Harry Potter's name out your mouth."
Yes, that's exactly it. That's Dobby all the way. He's like, one bad word and I will hit you. But yeah, so that ends up Harry tells Creature and then asks Dobby if he'll also join, and has those two house elves just follow Draco around and then report back to Harry like what he's doing. And from their reports, he finds out that he's been going in the room of requirement.
Interesting.
Again, Dobby like coming in clutch and helping Harry.
Good old Dobby.
Good old Dobby. And then that's pretty much it for the 6th book. So he doesn't have like a huge part, but you know, still like helping Harry. And then book 7, I'm like kind of mad about doing this episode because I went back and reread and rewatched his whole like rescue and death scene, and it just kills me. It's like, I think
Ugh,
it's the saddest death.
it is. I cried.
Yeah, and it's like the end of that movie because they split up Deathly Hallows into 2 movies.
Yeah, I think it. Yeah, I want to say the second one picked up like same spot, like on the beach, like in the dunes. I think.
I think so. That's like my memory. You're left with that, and then you had like wait to the next movie. I mean, it was like so depressing.
Yeah, but he had. I mean, he came in when he rescues them from like the cellar, and like they run upstairs and they start to have like that battle with the Malfoys, and
Mm-hmm.
like they all stop for a second because they hear like that screeching noise. And it's Dobby like hanging on the chandelier, just like slowly loosening a bolt, you know?
Yeah.
And like it falls and almost hits Bellatrix. And he delivered like the best line. Like Dobby always with his comic relief, you know? He sits there and Bellatrix like cries out after almost being hit by the chandelier. She's like, "Oh, you stupid elf, you could have killed me." And Dobby like claps back at her. He goes, "Dobby never meant to kill. Dobby only meant to maim or seriously injure." Like, what a great line.
I love that line. That's like one of my favorite lines ever from like any character from anything. It's so true though. He does all these things too when he's trying to like help Harry, where he gets him like his arm broken by a bludger and like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, all like almost gets him in trouble with the Dursleys. His way of like saving people always ends up in someone getting like seriously injured or maimed.
And his last act of like saving people, like ultimately got himself killed. Like after he disarms Narcissa in that when Bellatrix is like, "Oh, get him," and he like snaps the wand out of like Narcissa's hands. Like then Bellatrix like yells at Dobby, and she's like, "How dare you defy your masters?" And Dobby like stands up proudly and proclaims, like, "Dobby has no master. Dobby is a free elf, and Dobby has come to save Harry Potter and his friends." Like chilling, you know. It just shows like the audience like his strength and bravery and how much his like character has grown since he's been like freed from the Malfoys, you know.
Yeah, like from the point where we first meet him and he says his masters aren't that great, and then he has to like bang a lamp against his head, to now
Mm-hmm.
he's like stole her wand and he's like, I'm a free elf. I don't I don't listen to anybody, basically.
I remember when you used to kick and beat me.
Yeah. Oh, and another good line that he had too was like more of a comic relief one, was when they're down in the cellar, he like just appears, and then Harry's like, "Oh my gosh, you can disapparate from here, and you can take other people? Like that's crazy, because they're like trapped in there." And then Dobby just goes, "Yeah, I'm an elf." Like
Like, yeah, duh. Like, you should know by now, Harry.
yeah, like my powers like outstrip yours like to an insane level. Oh, he's just the best. Yeah, and the fact that they have him die. So yeah, like so he takes Narcissa's wand, and then Bellatrix yells at him and she just hurls her knife, and it like just barely makes it into their like disapparating group and hits Dobby.
So sad.
I kind of hate rewatching it.
I know.
But yeah, I do love it. Is like so sweet and like bittersweet, I guess is the word, that like Harry's, in back in Chamber of Secrets, he was like, swear to me that you won't try to save my life ever again. And then like that's, how he ends up dying, is by saving Harry and his friends.
It's crazy. Poor Dobby.
But the movie did pick a like beautiful beach for that. That's actually in a previous episode we were looking at like Harry Potter film locations, and we found the place that was filmed is called Freshwater West Beach. It's in Wales, and fans, because people love Dobby so much, this is like how much of an impact he's had. Fans have like gone to that beach and left like rocks and crosses and socks, like, and made this memorial for Dobby. I guess it's like bad for the environment, so like if you're listening, don't like leave anything. They just ask that you like like take
Don't litter
pictures.
on the beaches of Wales.
Yeah, please don't litter on the beaches of Wales. But it is like so sweet that people are all like so impacted, like in the real world, are so impacted by this character, this fictional character, that they're so moved to like leave like notes and messages and like go visit his like fictional gravesite.
That's great. I think Wales as a nation should come together, make a gravesite for Dobby, and be like, okay, if you want to litter on our beach, you can only do it within the confines of Dobby's memorial right here on the beach. Yeah, someone should get a hold of the Department of Tourism for Wales. I think this could be a big source of income for Wales, is tourism to Dobby's gravesite.
Yeah. It's like Harry Potter is in how many, like a bunch of different languages, like has been adapted, like it's in Japanese and all sorts of, like, people travel from all over to go to like the theme parks and everything. I'm sure that you could bring in more people instead of trying to avoid it. Just lean into it,
Lean into it.
So the next section we can go into is just talking a little bit about Dobby's, what I call friends and foes.
Okay.
So basically, and I'm not going to talk about like everyone that's ever been his friend, but his like main friends and then his main foes. So into the friends section, obviously Harry Potter and anyone that Harry Potter has ever known or loved gets protection automatically from Dobby, right?
Any friend of Harry Potter's is a friend of mine.
And then I also put Albus Dumbledore, because Albus Dumbledore did hire him and paid him, which most wizards wouldn't do. And apparently from the books, I'm looking back, it said that Dumbledore pays Dobby a galleon a week and he gets 1 day off per month. but Dumbledore tried to give him 10 galleons a week and every weekend off, but Dobby talked him down and said that's too much freedom for me.
Dobby should have had a lawyer negotiating for him because obviously Dobby's negotiating skills are quite lacking.
Yes. It's like, Dobby, take your weekends off. You deserve it.
He's like, I want to know what to do with all that free time.
Yeah, he's just like, I like to work though. I just don't want to have to work for like Death Eaters.
Yeah.
And then obviously Winky, which you mentioned, like, do you think that, I know we're like calling her his girlfriend and stuff, like, do you think they actually had like a romantic relationship?
I don't know, but I was just going off of like little tidbits that I had read, like Dobby always like taking care of her and things, like when she would drink too much butter beer and stuff. So I'm like, this is his girlfriend. Dobby got his freedom, got a job, started making some good money, bought some good clothes, and got himself a girlfriend. That's how I like to think of it.
Yeah, okay. I like that. And I guess maybe also we should mention under friends is, so Albus Dumbledore's brother, Aberforth, has some sort of friendship with Dobby because in the books, and I think it might have been mentioned in the movies too, I guess Aberforth like sent Dobby to go rescue them from the cellar.
Okay. Yeah, I remember in the movie, Harry still had like a piece of the mirror or something that he could contact um, Dumbledore's brother.
Yeah, that's
And
from the
that's
book, same as the books. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Interesting.
So basically, my memory of it is, I think he, like, basically when they get in the cellar, like they don't know what to do, they can't apparate out, and Harry just says into the mirror like, help us, like not knowing like where it was going to or if it would do anything. And I guess Aberforth told Dobby, or I don't really know, like it, I don't feel like we don't really get like the background on like what their relationship was, but I'm sure if Dobby was like, all Aberforth had to say was like Harry Potter, and he's like, where is he, like I'm there.
Say less, fam. Where's he at? I'll find
Exactly.
him.
Exactly. He's like, you don't even have to tell me. He probably like has some sort of like sonar like location on Harry at all times.
Yeah, he had the location turned on his wand. He could find him wherever he was.
Yes. What's that thing? There's like some sort of app that like parents use to like track their kids like through their phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had it
Yeah,
for Harry's wand.
it's like that. Like my old hairdresser told me that for her son, she could like track his phone, and she could also somehow track like if he was in a car, if he was speeding, she would like be able to tell.
Wow.
Yeah. So I feel like that's Tommy's relationship to Harry.
Dobby's like the ultimate helicopter parent. Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. But Dobby's foes, obviously the Malfoys, he doesn't have the best relationship with them.
Yeah. I think that goes without saying.
But he seems to be very anti-Voldemort in Death Eaters, and like Bellatrix as an extension of that. I mean, obviously she's the one that kills him, but it seems like his initial motivation for protecting Harry before Harry frees him and is nice to him is that he believes that helping Harry is like going against Voldemort. And I think he doesn't want like Voldemort to gain power again.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that. It's interesting.
If we're having a scale of like the most evil character to the least evil, like most good, I feel like Voldemort is like the 10, like max evil. And I feel like Dobby is a perfect example of like one, like perfectly pure, like even more than like Harry or Hermione.
Yeah, like he's like super pure hearted. Like he is super self sacrificing, like would do anything for anyone else. Like he gets a job and he gets offered more money and he goes, no, that's too much, you know, like I'll just take one galleon and one day off a month. Like who does that?
Yeah.
Only Dobby. He's pure hearted.
Only Dobby, yeah. And he's always like taking care of Winky and not complaining about it. So, yeah, he's just all around good guy.
Good guy. Weird looking dude. Good guy.
Exactly. And then Creature, obviously, him and Dobby, as we talked about before, they don't
Oh yeah.
exactly get along.
Can't badmouth his boy, Harry Potter. Forever an enemy.
Exactly. And and then I put on this list Oliver Wood. I feel like if Oliver Wood, Gryffindor Quidditch captain, Quidditch lover, if he found out that Dobby was behind taking out his star seeker, I don't think he would be very happy.
Yeah, we'll add him to the list of foes.
Yeah. I don't think Dobby has any ill feelings towards Oliver, but I think Oliver is like, why did you have to do that? Like, just mess with him at any other time, just not during Quidditch.
As long as Oliver, never said any bad words about Harry, he's okay in Dobby's book.
Yeah.
Just look what happened to Creature. You don't want to lose any teeth there, Oliver.
I know. Like we're talking about his magical power, but let's talk about Dobby's physical strength that he can knock out multiple teeth with one punch. Like,
Yeah.
is Dobby working out in the Hogwarts kitchens?
Yeah, he's lifting, cauldrons all day.
I think it's in my mind, he's like, he tells Harry about the room of requirement, and we know the room of requirement can become whatever the seeker wants it to be. So I feel like Dobby, like when he's off his shift, his one day off a month or whatever, he like goes to the room of requirement and it becomes this gym and he's just like lifting weights in there.
Oh yeah, for sure. I
Right?
could see that. Just like they should have put that in the film, like the character arc of Dobby, just like a montage of him, like, put some like Europe music playing in the background and he's just in there lifting weights.
Yes, it's like this Rocky style montage. And
Mm-hmm.
that's like, and just like with no explanation, like just so we know that that's going to come up later. That
He just rips off that dirty, raggedy old pillowcase and he's jacked, got a six
yes,
pack.
exactly. It's like he's hiding it in the pillowcase. But do you want to get into some fan theories about Dobby?
Yeah, let's go down the rabbit hole.
Okay, go down the rabbit hole we will. I found some odd fan theories, so I want to talk about them. The first one is this one kind of makes sense actually. So they're saying that Dobby's promise to not help Harry again, like when Harry says like promise you won't try to save my life again, they're saying that was an unbreakable vow, which is why he dies in the end when he ends up rescuing Harry from Malfoy Manor.
Interesting. Yeah, because I thought there was like a whole ceremony behind that with like the unbreakable vows, or at least in the films.
Yeah, no, in the books too, there's like you have to like hold hands and there's a spell and it like binds you and everything. So that's the only reason I think you can like we can discount this theory is that they don't actually like perform the spell at any point or hold hands or like do any of that.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, the house elf magic works in mysterious ways. Maybe it's different between wizards and witches making an unbreakable vow than with a wizard or witch with a house elf. Who knows? Could be plausible
Oh,
theory.
that's true. Yeah, because house elves don't need to use a wand. Like they don't need to like cast spells with a wand. So maybe and we also know that they have like this, this powerful enslavement to their masters and everything. So maybe they can like make unbreakable vows with like promises they make.
Yeah,
Maybe.
interesting theory.
The next theory is that Dobby is loyal to Draco and the Malfoy family, and all his actions to keep Harry safe were made under the belief that Harry's safety would also benefit Draco.
Interesting.
I feel like this is a stretch, and he never says anything nice about Draco or gives any indication that he had a good relationship with him,
Yeah, I
right?
mean, we don't see Dobby knocking out any other house elf's teeth for bad mouthing Draco.
Yeah, and I don't believe that Dobby's like visiting Draco or anything at Hogwarts, like he's visiting Harry.
Yeah, like you said, that Harry had Creature and Dobby tail Draco or like follow him where he's going. It's like he didn't object to that.
Yeah. And also, I guess maybe what they're trying to say with this theory is like, because the Malfoys do eventually end up basically like betraying Voldemort. Narcissa says that Harry's dead when he's not, just to get back to her son. So But I don't think that like Dobby had the foresight to be thinking that Harry was gonna be against Malfoy or against Voldemort, and the Malfoys would also be like kind of not faithful to Voldemort. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're all playing checkers, and Dobby's out here playing chess, thinking 10 moves ahead.
Like Dobby's like, okay, like Draco's gonna have a better life in a Voldemort-free world if I save Harry. Then, like eventually, like Voldemort's gonna go away, so it all links back to Draco somehow.
Who knows, because Dobby has been known to be pretty smart. Like, he knew how to catch a sock for his freedom when no other house elf in the history of the wizarding world could figure out by taking one article of clothing that a master threw would give you freedom. So who knows? Maybe he's an evil super genius. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, which kind of goes into the last theory I saw, which is kind of the other way that Dobby is secretly working for Voldemort and the Death Eaters and attempting to manipulate Harry through seemingly helpful actions. So, like, basically, Dobby is actually a Death Eater.
Oh, don't do Dobby like that. He is this beautiful, kind-hearted guardian angel of the series, not some evil mastermind. Oh, I guess I kind of just called him an evil mastermind.
I mean, he could be a mastermind without the evil part, maybe.
Yeah, we'll drop the evil. He's a good mastermind.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this theory, I try for the podcast to explore all the theories that are out there, but this theory does make me a little mad. I just feel like all these examples, especially even the extra examples that we get from the books that they don't show in the movies, like, I feel like really hone in on the fact that he's just a good, like, selfless, brave person that is just out for the good of the world.
Yeah, just the weird-looking dude with a heart of gold.
we can't say it enough. He's a weird-looking dude, but he's a good dude.
He's a good dude. All right. Well, thanks for joining us on this magical journey through the wizarding world of Harry Potter. Don't forget to rate and subscribe to the podcast wherever you are listening.
Next week, we will be discussing Voldemort's return from Book 4. Until then, happy reading, happy listening, and may you be as brave as Dobby.